tell this audience that they will be expected to wage war against the American people. That's exactly what Trump said. So don't get on here and try to tell me that he didn't say it. Training grounds in American cities. What does that mean? They're going to go in locked and loaded into American cities, American neighborhoods, and use American citizens as pop-up targets on a live fire training range? This is absolutely astounding. Abuse of power.
Good morning, everybody. Dr. Vasquez here, coming to you live to show you a bully beatdown like I have never seen before. And literally, I haven't seen it. I did see a little clip of this earlier today, a little short video, but I haven't seen the entire video, and I just downloaded the entire video, and so we're going to watch it together. So like I said, I've literally never seen anything like this because I haven't even seen this. So I'm going to play this video and give you my commentary, as you would expect. But for those of you who are paying attention, you already know where this is going. And the United States is in a bad situation right now. And for those of you who are not paying attention, this is going to be a quick summary. And also an exercise, so to speak, in connecting the dots. You have to see where this is going, and it's not going in a good direction. Trump recently renamed the Department of Defense the Department of War. Well, that's kind of weird. First of all, it's totally unnecessary. Second of all, it doesn't accomplish anything. And that's consistent with Trump's behavior because he's not a very good thinker. So he engages in things that are just for show and that don't actually improve the lives of Americans. His goal every day when he wakes up should be, how can I improve the lives of Americans? Well, renaming the Department of Defense as the Department of War isn't going to make your life better if you're an American. Sure as hell isn't going to make my life better, and I am an American from birth. So it's just stupid. I mean, he wastes so much time in political theater that doesn't even advance the country. I'll give you two more examples. You'll have to see my other reviews on leadership, or you could look at Patrick Lencioni's work, or you could look at John Maxwell's work on leadership. They're both leadership icons. But if you look at Patrick Lencioni's work, and if you look at John Maxwell's work on leadership, they both say some of the same things, of course, because they're talking about the same topic. But one of the things they both say is that a characteristic and definition of good leadership is you know what the hell is going on at all times if you're a subordinate to that leader. And, you know, theoretically, hierarchically, we are supposed to be subordinate to Trump because he's supposed to be the president of our country. He's supposed to be president of our country in his behavior, not simply in his position. And one of the defining characteristics, this also shows you that Trump has never even read a book on leadership, or maybe he's tried to read it, but because he's partly illiterate, he can't even read. But a defining characteristic of good leadership is you know what the hell the goal is, and you know where you're going, and you know what the status of the organization is. We're here, and we're trying to get here. No one can tell me, because it's never been stated, what is the direction of the United States? Other than to make it great again, that doesn't mean anything. So, good leadership is characterized by clarity and direction. If you have direction, like a really vague goal, like we're going to make America healthy again, or we're going to make America great again, that's not even really direction. But let's call it direction for the sake of even a low-level analysis. Direction without clarity doesn't get the job done. How are we going to make America great again? By him calling his own followers, his own conservative base, by him calling them stupid? That's not leadership. That's the opposite of leadership. A good leader never insults his or her subordinates, because a good leader would always take responsibility for whatever perceived failure is occurring within the group. A good leader would say, I see that we're not advancing toward the goal. Tell me what I did wrong, or show me what I did wrong, or we're going to regroup and we're going to analyze what we've done wrong here. But a good leader always takes responsibility. If you look at another work on leadership, which was very popular a few years ago, called Extreme Ownership. That's one of the take-home messages of the book, is extreme ownership by the leadership of whatever goes wrong. You'll notice that Trump never does that. He always blames the Democrats, he always blames somebody else, he even blames his own base. So he used to just attack Democrats and liberals in blue states. Now he attacks even his own base. So that's obviously not good leadership. So leadership failures by Trump and this guy who I barely even know his name, Hegseth, I think his name is, the Department of Defense, which is now the Department of War. This guy who was a major in the I believe the Army Reserves. Well, come on. He's not even fully enlisted, and he talks down to his superiors. I mean, that's just incredible. So remember what I said in another video recently about military and the kind of the culture of military. One of the slogans or bylines or stated or unstated rules is you earn and honor rank. Hegseth recently got up in front of a bunch of high-ranking U.S. military officials and told them to retire. He said basically, if you don't agree with what we're doing, you can retire early and serve your country by not participating in what's going on here. So that's that's a soft political purge. So he's trying to get rid of any resistance. That sucks. That sucks for America. That sucks for him as a supposed leader. And that's just bad news. So lack of direction, lack of clarity, lack of accountability, and lack of responsibility. That's what we're watching now in the United States. Even though, of course, some people are cheering it on. But that's fine. Some people think the world is flat, so whatever. Just because a lot of people are stupid together doesn't make them right. So I wanted to provide a more clear example of what should be happening right now. What should be happening in the United States is that Trump, instead of putting all these so-called tariffs, see, Trump doesn't understand what tariffs are. Trump has demonstrated that he thinks that a tariff is a tax on a foreign country. It's not a tax on a foreign country, it's a tax on American citizens because they have to pay higher prices for whatever the United States has to import. So a tariff is a regressive tax on Americans and on American businesses. The more obvious and much better strategy would have been for Trump to initiate an infrastructure program within the United States. That would create industry, it would create millions of jobs, and it would hardcore keep all of that local to the United States. So that would be a very positive and productive example of legitimate nationalism. Invest in your own damn country. Make your own country better. Instead of always attacking other countries and saying, instead of always pointing the finger at what other countries are doing bad, or they're the enemy, or we have to defend ourselves against whatever, instead of creating, these false enemies all the time, which is another way of distraction, which is another way of not taking responsibility, which is resulting in the fact that the country is not advancing. He should have and could have, and America needs, an infrastructure program. He should have initiated an infrastructure program. America has no national mass transit system other than, well, it's not even. America has a system of highways, and that's it. Look at China, look at Mexico, look at all of Europe. Mexico more and more. Certainly Russia is famous for having a beautiful metro system in certain cities, of course, like Moscow. But America has no effective regional or national mass transit. And that would have been an obvious program for him to undertake. Give Americans jobs, create more industry and technology. I mean, look at China. China is kicking the world's ass in their advancements in technology and infrastructure. Even a couple of years ago, let's say 10 years ago, what was stated was that the United States was about 100 years behind Europe. Well, let's assume we're 50 years behind Europe. America could catch up with European infrastructure. If America really dedicated itself, they could probably do it within 20 years or 10 years. So I don't really know where the 100-year number comes from. But let's assume that the United States is 20 years behind Europe. How far behind China is the United States at this point? I mean, China infrastructure projects and bridges and things like that are just absolutely incredible. Anyway, that was an opportunity that Trump had, but he's so full of hate and he's so unorganized, he can't even make his own country better, but he's going to say he's going to make America great again. And so far, the economy is going in the toilet, largely because of his tariffs. So anyway, that was kind of a quick commentary on leadership components, which should be exemplified by Trump. And this guy Hegseth, who's obviously got military training, he should know better as well. So we're going to look at this clip about him. But again, what we should get from our leaders, whether it's Trump or Hegseth or anybody else, we should get direction and clarity. And something that actually works. Not simply the wrong direction, not simply clarity on the wrong direction, but direction, clarity, benefit, and effectiveness. I mean, I can sit here and make this stuff up faster than they can think about it, and it's their jobs to be leaders of the United States. So anyway, like I said, I just saw this clip. I don't even know who the woman is or if she'll be announced here. I mentioned her name, I think, a minute ago, but now I've already forgotten it because I only looked at it this morning. So like I said, I saw a brief clip of this video. I'm going to show the entire video right now, which I haven't seen. It's 5 minutes, I believe. And if parts of it are too random or too non-applicable to the conversation, then I'll try to skip over them, and then I'll put the whole video at the end or something like that. But the short version, the short clip of this video that I saw earlier today was an absolute ass-kicking. And this guy, who's now the head of the War Department, formerly the Defense Department, and talking down to his own military people. I mean, that's what Trump does. Trump insults his supposed enemies, but he also insults his own base. And this Hegseth guy is doing the same thing. I mean, that's dangerous for him. It's not simply bad leadership. It's bad leadership to the point of being like, dude, you better watch your mouth, kind of thing. You know, among the military atmosphere. I mean, it's a little dangerous for him to behave with such absolute recklessness and arrogance. Anyway, let's get on to looking at this video. It's 5 minutes and 22 seconds. Let me see if I can speed it up. So I'll speed it up to 125%. Sorry, that may be too fast. Well, let's just watch it as it is. And I may have to pause it every once in a while to make a comment. But mostly I think I'm going to be shocked by this other senator's ability to totally put Hegseth in his place, and he just cowers down to it. I mean, he's showing his lack of leadership, and he doesn't even have, like, literally, and in her words, she says to him, "You don't even have the balls to give me an answer." I mean, that's outrageous for her to say that to him, and for him to cower down and basically say, "Yeah, you're right, I don't have the balls for this job." I mean, it's incredible. So anyway, let's watch it. Oh, so I'm sorry. When I first started this, I said I was going to connect a few dots. Changing the military from Department of Defense, which at least sounds decent. I mean, they can still do whatever the hell they want in the name of defense, just like America always does, whether it's invading Chile, overthrowing other democracies, killing other presidents like Salvador Allende in 1973 in Chile, I believe it was. So the United States assassinates other presidents and overthrows other democracies in the name of defense because it's always just some bullshit. But now they're not even trying to hide it. They're just saying, we're here to make war. I mean, holy crap. So connecting the dots again. Renaming it as Department of War, which suggests that they're about to get much more aggressive. Trump saying, Trump says we should use the military against our own citizens as practice. He said we should use American cities as a training ground for our military. Holy crap. So, a couple of months ago, I've talked at various times about how, wow, look at what's going on in the United States. It's not looking good. Wow, look at what happened in the United States. It's looking worse. I mean, how much worse can it get? I guess it can still get worse, and I presume it will continue to get worse, but at least I'm documenting and commenting on what's happening. Okay, so let's look at this. Now that the U.S. military is apparently being deployed against American citizens.
Senator Slotkin. Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Secretary, I said in your hearing, when you had your confirmation hearing, that my biggest concern with you at the helm was the potential use of the military in ways that contradict the Constitution or that taint what I hope we all want, which is an apolitical military. And when I asked you about whether you would accept an order that was actually given to your predecessor, Secretary Esper, Trump's SecDef, to deploy active duty troops against unarmed protesters and in Secretary Esper's words, shoot at them, shoot at their legs. You said this was all theoretical. Here we are, a few months later, you deployed 4,700 troops to Los Angeles and against the wishes of the governor. And my colleague across the aisle was right. It is the first time since 1965 that we have deployed Guard troops without the permission of the governor. In all the instances he laid out, the president had sent in the military to protect protesters, not against the protesters. So you may dismiss it, but I feel like this is a fundamental issue of American democracy. If you love your country and you want an apolitical military, then it should be the last resort, not the first resort in our country to use them. So to get to the non-theoretical, have you authorized the uniformed military to detain or arrest protesters in Los Angeles?
Senator, I would just start by saying you're not a protester if you're throwing concrete.
100%. Arrest those people. Throw them in the jail. 100%. But what you're doing is something different. Everyone knows this is a political decision, right? So we don't trust that you're using the best interests of the military, certainly, and of democracy on top of that. So have you given the order? That's all I want to know. It's not theoretical. For the U.S. military, not law enforcement. They can arrest all day long. That's their job. Do they have the ability, the uniformed military, to arrest and detain protesters currently today?
So remember what I said a few years ago when I did that spontaneous video on leadership? You can find it on the website. The title of that video and the page is called Leadership Knowledge Protects Society. So one of the complaints that I have had and will continue to have is that most people don't have any idea about some basic components of leadership, such as clarity and direction. And one of the things I said in that video was that, and this is, I've also written about psychopaths and manipulative behavior. And what I said in that context is that one of the ways to identify psychopaths or people who are being manipulative is to ask them for an answer to a question. If they don't answer, then they're evading the issue for a reason. And I think what we're about to see with Hegseth is he's fucking slimy as hell. He can't even answer the senator's questions. I mean, it's just totally disgusting.
It's a yes or no thing. Authority.
It's sort of amusing the extent to which the speculation is out there. These troops are given very clear orders.
Then what is the order? Then list it out for us. List it out. Did you authorize them to detain or arrest? That is a fundamental issue of democracy. I'm not trying to be a snot here. I'm just trying to get the actual. Did you authorize them to do that?
All of these orders and what they're sent there to do are public.
Okay, so say it. So say it. Yes or no?
Yes or no?
I'd like to.
Please. Yes or no?
As I've said time and time again through interruption, they're there to protect law enforcement,
Do they have
ICE
the ability
officers
to
who are
arrest?
trying to do their job,
Okay.
deporting illegals who were allowed in by the previous
So they
administration.
cannot arrest and detain citizens of the United States, the uniformed military.
As we've
Is that right?
stated, if necessary, in their own self-defense, they could temporarily detain and hand over to ICE. But there's no arresting going on. And you know this better than
Have you
you're trying to play
authorized the U.S.
political games.
military
There's
to
no
use
arresting
cyber
of U.S.
tools
personnel.
of the U.S. military against members of the protest? Have you authorized U.S. military cyber tools to investigate people participating in these protests? Yes or no?
Yes or no?
Certainly in no way that I know of.
Okay, that's good. I love that answer. That's great. Have you given the order to be able to?
No, that was really not an acceptable answer. Listen to what he said. He said, she asked a question that should be yes or no. He replied with, not to my awareness, or I certainly haven't done that to the best of my recollection, or some bullshit answer. That's bullshit. It's either yes or no. If he can't remember his own actions in his own charge in his own office, then he shouldn't have the job. So telling her, oh, well, I don't remember it right now, or to the best of my recollection, or to the best of my knowledge, I mean, that's evasive bullshit. he's either incompetent or he's evasive or he's whatever, doesn't have the memory for the job.
To shoot at unarmed protesters in any way. I'm just asking the question. Don't laugh. Like the whole country. And by the way, my colleagues
What is
across
that
the
based
aisle.
on? What evidence would you
It
have
is
that an
based
order
on
like that
Donald
has ever
Trump
been given?
giving that order to your predecessor, to a Republican Secretary of Defense, who I give a lot of credit to because he didn't accept the order. He had more guts and balls than you because he said, I'm not going to send in the uniformed military to do something that I know in my gut isn't right.
So on a social level, she is kicking his ass right now. Earlier, she basically questioned his manhood. And then now she just said to him, you don't have the balls to do this. I mean, that is absolutely incredible. And I'm happy that she's doing it. But this is a political and social and public ass kicking like I have never seen before.
He was asked to shoot at their legs. He wrote that in his book. That's not hearsay. So your poo-pooing of this, it just shows you don't understand who we are as a country, who we are. And all of my colleagues across the aisle, especially the ones that served, should want an apolitical military and not want citizens to be scared of their own military. I love the military. I served alongside my whole life. So I'm worried about you tainting it. Have you given the order? Have you given the order that they can use lethal force against honor? I want the answer to be no. Please tell me it's no. Have you given the order?
Senator, I'd be careful what you read in books and believing it, except for the Bible.
Oh, my God.
He's such a bullshitter. So that's virtue signaling to his Trumpian religious right base that thinks, Trump was somehow the second coming of Jesus or whatever. So, I mean, that was just bullshit. And it doesn't matter if you're a Christian or if you love Trump or whatever. What he just said is bullshit. So just because you like the bullshit that he's saying, you should still see it as bullshit. She's quoting, apparently, like an autobiography by some other politician who knew what the hell was going on. So she's quoting words from his book. And then he says, in complete nonsense, but it's simply virtue signaling, he says, oh, well, you should only trust the Bible. Oh, come on. That's pandering. I mean, that's an insult even to his own, whatever, religious right or Christian base. I mean, that's an insult even to them.
So your former predecessor, I guess that's not enough for you. Okay, on Iran. I don't think there's a debate. There's like a cat fight going on in your own party about whether to go after Iran. Have you commissioned any day after planning? So any force protection, any use of ground troops in Iran, any cost assessments? Because I don't think we doubt what we can do as a country in the attack.
So I'll put this entire video, well, it only has 14 seconds left, so I'll go ahead and play it. I was going to say I'll just put it at the end, but for the sake of completeness, I'll just play it right now.
It's the day after with Iraq and Afghanistan that so many of us have learned to be so deeply concerned about. Have you authorized day after planning?
As I've said, we have plans for everything, Senator.
Okay.
Oh my God, that was just such bullshit. I mean, this guy, he's epitomizing bad leadership, and he's in charge of America's Department of Defense or Department of War. I mean, this is absolutely horrible. She asks clear questions, and he evades every single question for 5 minutes. That sucks. That's not leadership. Leadership is direction, clarity, and effectiveness. And obviously, we need direction, clarity, and effectiveness in a good direction. So let's just say those are 4 basic components of leadership. We're going to do something good. We're going to define and clarify what that good thing is, not just have some mamby-pamby slogan. We're going to provide clarity on where we are, where we're going, and how we're going to get there. So, I mean, I just made up my own list right there, but what was it? Direction, clarity, effectiveness, and it has to be a good goal. I mean, it has to be something worthy. I mean, that's part of leadership isn't simply saying, hey, we're going to the North Pole. It's actually asking people, hey, do you want to go to the North Pole? Should we go to the North Pole? Would it be beneficial for our country to go to the North Pole? I mean, leadership isn't simply about saying, hey, I want to do this. That's egoism. That's dictatorship. Dictatorship is saying we're going to do whatever the hell I want. Leadership is getting some type of feel for the social terrain and saying, hey, I think it would be great for our country to achieve effective and efficient mass transit and international infrastructure at the level of Europe, at the level of Mexico, at the level of Chile, at the level of China, I mean, or at the level of the UK, anything. All the United States has is cement highways, and they're great highways, as most of you know. But guess what? Other countries have cement highways, but they also have infrastructure. So, for example, like when we lived in Spain for 9 years, 10 years, yeah, you can get in a car and go from coast to coast. I used to do it once a month because we used to live in Galicia, and we had another little apartment in Tarragona, which is virtually on the other side of the country. It was 1,000 kilometers, and it took me 11 hours to do that drive. So yeah, you can drive 11 hours nonstop in Spain, but you can also take a train. You can also take an overnight train. You can also take a high-speed train. You can also take a train through various routes. So I could go from Galicia to País Vasco and San Sebastián and Bilbao and Pamplona, and then I could spend the day there, and then I could take the train down to Barcelona or Tarragona. But I could also take the train from Galicia to Madrid, and then overnight look at the museums, and then go to the other regions. In the United States, you can't do that. You have to have a car or you have to fly. But the benefit of using trains, in addition to many other benefits, is you get to actually enjoy and see your own country leisurely, not paying private gas in a private car with private insurance. So anyway, whatever. Take it or leave it. The United States is decades behind in infrastructure, and infrastructure would have been an easy target for Trump. We're going to create jobs, we're going to improve the country, we're going to improve our own economy, because now, when people are going coast to coast in this new train system that we have, they can stop over in these little towns like Waco, Lufkin, whatever. And that improves let me say it this way. Transportation infrastructure improves the financial infrastructure of the country, because people have the option of staying home or staying within their own country and spending their money within their own country. As an American, if you want to see efficient mass transit, you have to go to Europe or you have to go abroad. Many years ago, the popular thing to do was to go to Europe, get a Eurail pass, and just go Spain, France, Italy, Germany, whatever. You can't do that in the United States. So a way to improve the United States economy directly would be to create an infrastructure program. Indirectly, or secondarily, but obviously, that would improve the entire financial infrastructure of the United States, because people could stay in their country and still have a great time. They wouldn't have to go to other countries on other continents to look at, modern infrastructure and, other beautiful things. So anyway, that's my commentary for the morning. Hope you're all doing well. And let me connect those first dots one more time. Renaming the Department of Defense as Department of War is a stupid thing to do. It doesn't accomplish anything, but it looks kind of scary. Trump saying that he's going to use the military against American citizens, and basically use American citizens as target practice for the military. I mean, that's out of fucking control. Out of control. And not only have they renamed it, he said it verbally, and then they actually did it. This Hegseth guy insulted a huge group of military leaders who have more rank than he does. And he basically said, if you don't go along with us, it's the same thing George Bush said back in 2001. He said, you're either with us or against us. That's basically a political purge of the military, to get rid of anybody who's going to think independently or put up a fight. I mean, that's just absolutely horrible. And I guess the fourth component is the one that we just looked at here. I mean, this guy can't even answer basic questions. So again, good leadership, direction, clarity, effectiveness, and it has to be worthwhile. It has to be good. We're not seeing any of that right now. So that's my commentary for the morning. Hope you're doing well. Take care. Bye.
Malcolm S. Ritchie, Lieutenant Colonel, retired, U.S. Army Reserve, 3 combat tours in Iraq, 32 years of service in the United States Army, Army Reserve, and Army National Guard. And I'm here today not as a candidate, making that disclaimer. I am here to express my outrage at the meeting in Quantico, Virginia, between Hegseth, Trump, and all of the senior officers in the United States military and the senior NCO Corps. those generals, admirals, and senior NCOs sat there in stone-faced silence, listening to the most outrageous speeches ever made in United States military history by the Secretary of Defense and the President of the United States. Secretary of Defense on his ridiculous rant trying to take to school generals, admirals, senior NCOs with 10 times the leadership ability, the education, and the experience that the failed Major Hegseth could ever begin to understand. And then they have to listen to the cognitively declined President of the United States, who I would now name as Dictator of the United States, tell this audience that they will be expected to wage war against the American people. That's exactly what Trump said. So don't get on here and try to tell me that he didn't say it. Training grounds in American cities. What does that mean? They're going to go in locked and loaded into American cities, American neighborhoods, and use American citizens as pop-up targets on a live fire training range? This is absolutely astounding abuse of power, which makes, by my estimation, Donald Trump a domestic enemy of the Constitution. Because my oath is to the Constitution, and don't you think for 1 minute, Mr. Trump, that there aren't millions of other veterans and retirees that feel exactly the same way. We are enraged. We are beyond enraged. And we will protest peacefully. And we will go out and vote for the candidates of our choice in the 2026 midterm election, which you better not even try to stop. If you try to stop that by force, that's the nightmare scenario. And I'm not saying by violence, I'm saying politically, basically, you're done, Trump. You're done, Hegseth. It won't be long before you're politically thrown down that dark, deep hole. But don't think it's not going to cause a lot of trauma on the American people as they clutch to the roots of the hole on the way down, trying to survive something that they cannot possibly survive, because this nation is a republic and it will not fall to a fascist regime.